शीतला सस्यश्यामला मातरं वन्दे मातरं शुभ्रज्योत्स्ना पुलकितयामिनी पुल्लकुसुमित द्रुमदलशोभिनी सुहासिनी सुमधुरभाषिणी सुखदां वरदां मातरं वन्दे मातरं वन्दे मातरम्.
Thank you. Please be seated. We shall now watch a memorial video on the life and legacy of our founder, Shri N.J. Yashasvi Garu. I request the AV team to kindly play the video.
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि.
This film will take you through the story of an extraordinary visionary. We pay tribute to one of the most resplendent intellectuals India has ever seen. The iconic N.J. Yashasvi, the man who founded the Institute of Chartered Financial Analysts of India, ICFAI, and ICFAI Universities and ICFAI Group of Institutions. He leaves behind him a huge network of educational institutions that will stand testimony to the adage, what can be imagined can be achieved. Born on 9th February 1950 to Father Sri Nanduri Venkateshwar Rao, a school teacher, and Srimati Seethamma Garu, a homemaker, the quest of knowledge, the zeal to excel, was instilled in him right from his childhood. The spark of brilliance was evident in him right from his school days. His illuminating essays on a wide variety of topics, even when he was in the 4th grade, captured the attention of his teachers, who appreciated and encouraged the remarkable talent in the young Yashasvi. The young boy was a keen and committed learner, and he never repeated an error once it was pointed out to him. N.J. Yashasvi had a brilliant academic career throughout. Graduating from the Andhra University in 1969 with a BCom degree, he topped the university. In his CA Inter in the year 1971, he achieved near impossible scores as first ranker and repeated the academic feat in CA Final in 1973. Simultaneously, he bagged the first rank in ICWA Inter in 1970 and ICWA Final in 1972. This spectacular track record of academic achievements reached its zenith when he was given the Basu Foundation Award for the Best Student of the Year from both the Institute of Cost and Works Accountants of India in 1972 and the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India in 1973. A first-of-its-kind achievement in the country, an unparalleled performance which made his parents and well-wishers immensely proud. Married to Srimati Shobha Rani, he had a blissful home atmosphere, and the enlightening journey as a father, husband, and mentor crossed all boundaries as the most rewarding and enriching experience. Weekends at the NJY home was always known for his warm welcome to his circle of friends and associates. There would be a fruitful exchange of knowledge and fun, delicious home-cooked food, and engaging battle of wits with his mother. The grand old lady would voice her policy of the spiritual journey as all-encompassing, while her son would try to churn out hundreds of conversations why hard work and commitment to basic issues were more important than spirituality. N.J. Yashasvi was fortunate to have lived a fulfilling and supremely satisfying family life. His phenomenal career began in a modest manner with a brief stint at ITC as a management trainee. Thereafter, Mr. Yashasvi joined as a faculty member with Administrative Staff College of India in 1974. N.J. Yashaswi spurned an offer to teach at the prestigious University of Singapore's Accountancy Department, as he informed Professor Bhanoji Rao Garu that he felt that he had some important contribution to make in India. In 1981, he started his consultancy firm Yashaswi Management Associates Private Limited. And from then onwards, there was no looking back. It was in 1984 that he started the ICFAI Society. In 1995, he was instrumental in setting of ICFAI business schools across 8 locations in India. He was charismatic, a great motivator, never tired of talking about ideas, their execution, and delegating projects ably to people according to their strengths. He showed his prowess in corporatizing education and created a sterling model out of it.
If you are a man in a hurry, it is not the business to be in. And what I mean to say is that it takes at least 100 years before a university is really recognized in a true sense. The grandfather should study there, then the father should study there, then the child should study there, then this child's child should study there.
A pioneer, a leader, and innovator, NJY created Andhra Pradesh's first private placement industry, first leasing deals, first stock market newsletters, first management consultancy, and the earliest traces of knowledge society. He loved knowledge, science, and new ideas that changed the world. Yet, he remained humble, always working with a motivation to do something different, to make a difference to the world of business education, and publications.
I knew Mr. SSC when he joined the Administrative Staff College of India in the year 1974. He taught finance courses. He was an outstanding teacher in that college. He also wrote books in the area of finance and investments, which can be easily understood by common man. He is extremely clear in his thinking. His motive was meritum ethicus, that is, provide merit, give preference always to merit, and be ethical in all your administration and management practices.
He had the flair to make everything look simple to accomplish, even to an ordinary mortal. A powerhouse of energy and enthusiasm, his repertoire of achievements in education is amazing. Whether it was the launching of the Chartered Financial Analyst program to make true financial management available to the Indian youth way back in 1985, or constantly updating it to suit emerging needs of the Indian financial markets, starting new programs for the changing needs of the reforming and liberalized Indian markets, or redrafting the curriculum for an existing program to align it with the changing business environment, he sailed through them with effortless ease of a true genius. N.J. Yashaswi possessed a remarkable sense of social responsibilities, aesthetics, scientific and intellectual temper, and cultural sentiments. What came naturally to him was his ability to make gold out of dust. A seemingly useless idea or an innocuous thing would spark a business model in his mind. And he was a great practitioner in possibility thinking. In that sense, he was a great economic naturalist, allocating capital to get optimal and even phenomenal returns with scarce resources. A gifted communicator, N.J. Yashaswi masterfully articulated the need for a new university with government authorities, and went on to establish universities with competent faculty, duly supported by requisite infrastructure, designed the campus for a newly approved university, challenging great odds in his own inimitable style. Bequeathing the coming generations with a rich legacy of publications, he published innumerable books on current topics of management, with his unabated desire to bring the latest knowledge to the doorsteps of the Indian academic institution. An achiever par excellence, N.J. Yashaswi was, however, not one to court publicity. His favorite retreat was his corner chair, surrounded by his books and photos in plot number 19 Nagarjuna Hills, from where he generated ideas that changed the educational scenario. And his worthy emissaries emulated his ideals, touching the peaks of success and turning their mentors' dreams into vibrant realities. In the last 2 years, he started several new projects of the current generation. NJY achieved so much at just 61, and yet there were so many projects at hand. His entrepreneurial zeal never diminished. For his unrivaled contributions to education, Sri Yashasvi truly deserves a place in the history of the business scenario of Andhra Pradesh and Indian education in general for his life's work. Thousands of employees of the ICFAI, including people, grew like saplings under the banyan tree called ICFAI, which spawned the biggest service sector boom in education, research, publication and policy making. Some of India's most successful fund managers, analysts, bankers, journalists, software and management professionals, thought leaders and thinking elite have some connection or the other with ICFAI. Either they worked at ICFAI or they studied at ICFAI and its associate wings. The causes he expounded were noble, and it is the duty of his protégés to carry them forward. This is the greatest tribute one can pay to him, standing as living testimonies of his life's mission. Software and management professionals, thought leaders and thinking elite have some connection or the other with ICFAI. Either they worked at ICFAI or they studied at ICFAI.
With reverence, we remember Sri N.J. Yashasvi Garu, our founder who helped shape this institution and whose memories continue to inspire us. May I now request Professor Tamma Kotireddy, Vice Chancellor in charge, ICFAI Foundation for Higher Education, to deliver the welcome address.
Respected Dr. C. Rangarajan, Honorable Chancellor, ICFAI Foundation for Higher Education, the Chief Guest of today's Foundation Day lecture, Dr. D. Nageshwar Reddy, Chairman, AIG Hospitals, respected Madam Srimati N. Shobharani Yashasvi, the Chairperson, ICFAI Society, Sri V.R. Shankara, the President, ICFAI Society, eminent advisors of ICFAI Group, Professor Rajshekaran Pillai, Professor U.B. Desai, Professor Jagannath Patnaik, Professor J. Mahendra Reddy, Professor O.R.S. Rao Garu, Professor T.R.K. Rao Garu, Deans and Directors, faculty colleagues, students, ladies and gentlemen. I extend a warm welcome to Professor Rangarajan. I am indeed grateful to him for readily accepting the invitation. He has always been a source of inspiration to promote excellence in teaching and research. Dr. Chakravarti Rangarajan, Chancellor of the University, is a leading economist who has played a key role both as an academician and as a policy maker in India. Currently, he is the Chairman, Madras School of Economics, and President, C.R. Rao Advanced Institute for Mathematics, Statistics, and Computer Science. Previously, Dr. Rangarajan has held several important positions, which include the Governor of the Reserve Bank of India, Chairman, Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister, Member, Planning Commission, and also the Chairman of the 12th Finance Commission. He was also the Governor of Undivided Andhra Pradesh and was a member of the Rajya Sabha. Dr. Rangarajan was the President of the Indian Economic Association in 1988 and was again honored the President of the Centenary Year 2017 of the association. He was also the president of the Indian Econometric Society in 1994. Dr. Nagarajan has received several highly reputed awards. Notable among them are Honorary Fellow of Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, Alumni Award for Outstanding Leadership by Wharton India Economic Forum, and the Finance Man of the Decade given by Bombay Management Association. In recognition of his distinguished service to the country, the President of India honored him with the Padma Vibhushan in 2002. He was part of the team which launched the liberalization reforms in 1991. In 2020, Dr. Rangarajan received Professor Mahalanobis National Award for Lifetime Achievement in Official Statistics. In 2021, Dr. Rangarajan received Professor C.R. Rao Centenary Gold Medal along with Professor Jagadish Bhagavati of Columbia University for their lifetime contributions to the field of theoretical and applied aspects of quantitative economics. Dr. Rangarajan has written extensively in professional journals at home and abroad. He is the author of several books, the latest being Forks in the Road, My Days at RBI and Beyond, which was published by Penguin in 2022. On behalf of ICFAI Foundation for Higher Education, Hyderabad, I extend a warm welcome to you, sir, and thank you for gracing this Foundation Day lecture with your presence. I am grateful to Dr. D. Nageshwar Reddy Garu for readily accepting our invitation to deliver the 16th Foundation Day lecture on the topic, The Future of Healthcare, How Artificial Intelligence is Redefining Medicine. Dr. D. Nageshwar Reddy, the Chairman and Chief of Gastroenterology at AIG Hospitals, Hyderabad, stands as an outstanding example of medical innovation, compassion, and a relentless pursuit of excellence in patient care. Dr. Reddy is a globally renowned gastroenterologist who revolutionized the field of therapeutic endoscopy, transferring thousands of lives across the globe and made India a hub for world-class GI endoscopy services. As the founder of the Asian Healthcare Foundation, he has bridged rural-urban healthcare divides, deploying India's first mobile endoscopy units and screening programs that brings life-saving diagnostics to undeserved communities. His contributions extend to healthcare technology, where he has collaborated with IITs, Indian Institute of Science, and international research institutions to develop several diagnostic and therapeutic tools to treat gastrointestinal diseases. An educator and mentor, Dr. Reddy has shaped the next generation of gastroenterologists, while his prolific research, over 125 publications and 50 textbooks, enriches global medical knowledge. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Dr. Reddy spearheaded critical research, treatment protocols, and community initiatives, ensuring affordable COVID-19 care, free treatment for frontline workers, and vaccine strategy optimization. His scientific leadership and commitment to public health played a critical role in shaping India's pandemic response. His leadership at AIG hospitals produced critical research and protocols that guided national treatment and strategies. Internationally acclaimed, Dr. Reddy has been honored with the Rudolph Schindler Award by the American Society of Gastrointestinal Endoscopy, the first Indian to receive this distinction, and the prestigious AAAS Fellowship, a testament to his scientific eminence. He has been awarded the Distinguished Educator Award by American Gastroenterology Association, Master of the World Endoscopy Organization, among several other eminent global accolades. In terms of national awards, Dr. D. Nageshwar Reddy received Dr. B.C. Rai Award in 1995, Padma Shri in 2002, Padma Bhushan in 2016, and Padma Vibhushan in 2025. He was also awarded Dr. Ambujanath Bose Prize by Royal College of Physicians, London in 2025. In 2026, he had received the prestigious Dr. Jivaraj Mehta Award by the Association of Physicians of India for his contributions toward medicine in India, and the Christopher Williams Award by the British Society of Gastroenterology. His legacy inspires us to strive for a healthier, more equitable world. I extend a warm welcome to you, sir, on behalf of ICFAI Foundation for Higher Education, and thank you for gracing this Foundation Day lecture with your presence. Let me say a few words about the university. The ICFAI Foundation for Higher Education was declared as a deemed university in December 2008 under Section 3 of the UGC Act 1956. It has 6 schools: business, engineering, law, social sciences, architecture, and online and distance education. It has a faculty strength of more than 400 and a student strength of 11,000. The students are from all the states and union territories in India. The university is a member of Association of Indian Universities and Association of Commonwealth Universities. One of the constant units of ICFAI Foundation for Higher Education, IBS Hyderabad, is a member of ASESB USA, ACBSP USA, EMFD of Belgium, and AMDISA of India. The university is accredited by NAC with A++ grade and has been given Category 1 autonomous status as well as 12B status by the University Grants Commission. The university has achieved a world rank of 705 in sustainability rankings and an India rank of 25 in the rankings given by Higher Education Research Analytics USA. IFHE ranked in 1001 to 1500 band in the Times Education Impact Ranking 2026. Within a short span of time, the ICFAI Foundation for Higher Education was emerged as a multidisciplinary university. Some of the leading institutions with whom IFHE has signed MOUs include George Mason University, USA, University of Maryland, USA, Pennsylvania State University, USA, University of Pittsburgh School of Law, USA, ICN Business School, France. The Case Research Center of ICFAI Business School, Hyderabad, has won global recognition for its cases. The Case Research Center of IBS Hyderabad is ranked 3rd in the UK-based Case Centers Impact Index 2025, just behind Harvard and INSEAD. More than 900 business schools across the world and nearly 80 countries use CRC cases, with nearly 90% of the users outside India, mainly from Northern America and Europe. The international users include London Business School, London School of Economics, Oxford SAID, Cambridge Judge, HEC Paris, HEC Montreal, and SDA Bocconi. In India, leading institutions such as IIMs, ISB, TAPME, SP Jain, and Symbiosis use CRC cases. The corporate users include McKinsey, Boston Consulting Group, KPMG, and Tata Management Training Center. The university has a strong research culture reflected in high-quality research publications in Scopus, Web of Science, and ABDC indexed journals. The faculty members collaborate with international researchers on research projects and publications. The IFHE has established 17 centers of excellence to promote research innovation, interdisciplinary learning, industry engagement across its constant units. The Management Development Program vertical has established by IBS Hyderabad has a credible executive partner for blue chip organizations, repeat mandates from Indian Oil Corporation, Maruti Suzuki, DRDO, Aurobindo Pharma, and Hyundai Motors reflects the quality and relevance of the programs delivered. With this, I once again extend a warm welcome to you all to the 16th Foundation Day lecture. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you very much, sir. It is now my privilege to invite our esteemed chief guest, Dr. D. Nageshwar Reddy, Chairman, AIG Hospitals, to deliver the 16th Foundation Day lecture on the topic, The Future of Healthcare, How Artificial Intelligence is Redefining Medicine. Sir.
afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Chancellor of the University, Professor C. Rangarajan, Vice Chancellor Koti Reddy, and others here. At the outset, I am truly humbled and honored to be a part of this function. Humbled and honored for three reasons. First of all, I am amongst a group of people who have accomplished so much. All the front seat people here are such great accomplishers who have achieved so much in life, and to be talking in front of them is to me a privilege. Especially, I think Dr. Rangarajan is somebody who set up the whole economic development in this country, and right from 1990s to now what we've achieved, a lot is because of his reforms. I think people who have studied it realize that he is the one who is responsible for the economic strength of India today. Thank you very much, sir. I'm very honored to be talking. The second reason is that if you look at the list of previous foundation lecturers, last 15, I couldn't believe that they all came here and gave this talk. So normally, because as doctors, what happens is we are busy with patients, surgeries and so on, we very reluctantly accept to come to for talks because coming here would take half day off, and that's about 100 patients. So when I saw the list of people who spoke before, actually I was humbled that I was actually called. To me, it's a very humbling and honoring experience. The third reason is that as I sit here and watch what NJSSV Garu has done, I think I'm totally moved. I'm humbled and honored that at a short span of age, 61 years now, in present day would be considered very short. At this short span of age, he's accomplished so much, created one of the most outstanding educational institute, not only in our country, in the world. You go anywhere, they'll talk about ICFAI. To have created this in the short span of his life is remarkable. And my only regret is that I didn't know him when he was alive. I didn't have the opportunity to interact with him. Probably I would have been a wiser person if I had done that. So to stand here in his vision and to give this talk for me is a very, very humbling experience. Thank you very much for the opportunity, sir. So I'm going to talk on future of healthcare and what artificial intelligence is doing. Artificial intelligence, I think now has become, I think for the changer, you require to put a attachment here. How do you change? So artificial intelligence, you can see papers everywhere it's artificial intelligence, artificial intelligence. So to confess, I am not an expert in this. I can't make algorithms, I can't create many models that are there in artificial intelligence. You probably, some of the youngsters here are much better than me. I am using artificial intelligence from the benefits that we get here. And so my main use of artificial intelligence is with ChatGPT, for example. And I'll show you an example that when I was asked to come here to give a talk, I asked ChatGPT that I have to give this talk at ICFA. Can you tell me about it? And it told me I have to give a 30-minute presentation. Can you help me? So immediately I said, okay, I'll do this. So actually made my format for me. It said you to do this, briefly introduce, then do what is basics in healthcare, key applications, case studies, very nicely. It just took about hardly 2.5 minutes to create this for ChatGPT. Look at that. It would have taken me 1 month to prepare it if I went through it. And finally, ChatGPT told me, should I make the slides for you? I said, no, that I'll make myself, because this is becoming very common. All medical conferences now, slides are by ChatGPT or Claude or Grok, or these things are making. So this is the extent where I'm using a lot of ChatGPT, but also what I'll do is I'll tell you a few things of what is happening in medicine and how ChatGPT is being used. So regular medicine is now a combination of empathy and natural intelligence. So we have to have an amount of gut instinct, natural intelligence and empathy for the patient to be a good doctor. So how does artificial intelligence come down? Because in medicine now we have clinical examination, investigations, and then we do follow-up, we train out and so on. So how does AI play a role? And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to talk anything theoretical. I'm going to talk to you practically what we have implemented at AIG hospitals and how this has helped us make better patient care or health care. So a few basic slides, because again, when I went into this field about 5 years back, I had very little knowledge. What was artificial intelligence, what happened and all that. The father of artificial intelligence is Alan Turing. Alan Turing was a British scientist who during the World War II was trying to decipher the messages that was being passed between different German ships. So in fact, he broke the code and managed to find out what each ship was saying to the other ship. And it's believed that the reason why Britain won the World War II ultimately was because of Turing. There are a lot of other reasons people say, but it's Turing, because he managed to break that. And he was now, in fact, for those in computer science, there's a Turing Prize. There's no Nobel Prize. They're not giving Nobel, but they're giving the Turing Prize. And 2 Indians actually have got it. So the term artificial intelligence actually was coined in 1956 in a conference in Dartmouth. At that time, and even now, we don't exactly know what it means. What is artificial? So general terminology that we understand it is that the machine starts thinking intelligently, that is artificial intelligence. That was what came. From 1956 till the 1980s is called the winter of artificial intelligence, because the term was coined, nobody was using, nobody knew what happened. It was only in 1980s the concept of machine learning came. Now what is the concept of machine learning? You can actually teach the machine to think intelligently. That was the concept that came. But what was actually transformed artificial intelligence is this deep learning method. Now, deep learning is a technique where you put multiple inputs. So I'll just simplifying it. Again, as a doctor, for us, it's better that we see in simple terms. So you put in multiple inputs, the patient's data, the symptoms, all multiple data is put in. All these are integrated, and the machine comes out with the final answer. So this is what we learn. We learn by deep learning. There are different methods of deep learning and so on. So you see how it started in 50s, 80s is when machine learning came in, but it was really in 2010 when the concept of deep learning, where you can create several layers in the machine to get an ultimate answer, that the whole medical field exploded with artificial intelligence. So again, as I tell my doctors, there are only 3 things you have to know as a doctor from artificial intelligence. First is that they're foundation models. They are called foundation, where algorithms are written. There are 3 foundation models what we use commonly. First is the large language models. It's called, of course, one of the examples is ChatGPT. So what these large language models do is, a doctor wants some information or something to be built, it immediately gathers all the information from different search engines and comes out with a simple answer, like he told me how to give this lecture. This is large language models. There are also small language models for solving small problems. The second, the most important thing, what medicine was being, artificial intelligence was used for medicine, was computer vision. Now what is computer vision? I mean, computer vision is that you can train the computer to recognize objects. It started simply by saying what is a cat, what is a dog, what is a camel, to a more sophisticated level of what is cancer, what is this cancer, what type of cancer. So as doctors, we want to identify what is the lesion. So this is where computer vision starts. And the last part is, of course, natural language processing. NLPs are audio related, where speech is converted into, and I'll show you examples of how we are using it. Speech is converted into text and segmented text, not just translation, but segmented text. So this is the 3 things we use. And now in medicine, we use a combination of all these 3. So they are actually a multimodal models. So traditionally 3 models put together called multimodal. So this is the basic concepts of what we do in medicine to use artificial intelligence. So there are a variety of examples how artificial intelligence can be used in different areas. For example, diagnostic, drug discovery, personalized medicine, predictive analysis, and of course, all of you are aware of I think these fancy things about robotics with artificial intelligence, who can themselves do surgery and so on. In fact, we had a recent example in our hospital where we had a patient with gallstone disease. We trained the robotics with artificial intelligence so well, there was no surgeon, only the patient, only the robot in the endoscopy room, and the robot went and did the surgery, removed the gallbladder and the stone. Nobody is involved, no human interference. This is the extent that we have gone to. But again, I don't want to go into these fancy stories. There are many, but like for example, the neural link that Elon Musk has now created, where you can put a small computer chip and all of us can be made super intelligent with that. So there are many, many fantasy stories that are going to come up. This is going to be the next 5 years. Maybe somebody giving a foundation lecture in 2035 will be talking about those things. But right now, there are some very practical applications that we're using, and one of the important thing is drug discoveries. Just imagine, to make a new drug discovery, to make a new vaccine, it used to take us 25 to 30 years. Many drugs took longer also, because you have to now see where the drug acts, how the drug acts, is it really working in animal models. It took a long time, and then clinical tests. But now with artificial intelligence, you can sit in a house. In fact, there are many scientists now sitting in small cubicles. All this can be now made out in about a week's time. You can make out the targets, which drug, which targets, what are the potential side effects. Drug discovery has changed now from 30 years to 2 years. Many new drugs are coming out, 2 years time, and the major impact is occurring in oncology. Recently, a new drug for some extent curing pancreatic and colonic cancers came because of AI use in just 2 years. The scientists were working for 50 years on this drug. They couldn't break it, but 2 years they broke it. So just imagine in the next 10 years, how it's going to potentially revolutionize the drug discovery. The whole drug discovery is going to change. And this to me is something which is not really among doctors, but scientists, everybody using it together. So these are the several areas where we're going to use. Traditionally, artificial intelligence has been used by radiologists. This is about 15 years old, and I'll show you some examples how radiologists, and now at AIG also we have gone a lot into radiology, imaging, and of course telehealth is another area. A country like ours, the remote villages, northeast you can't get into. Now we are using to get data from there, and telehealth artificial intelligence is coming. So for clinicians, you can rapidly, accurately actually get into this and get data, see the findings, and then say what the patient has got. Health system efficiency is improved, and for the patient, personal health or precision medicine is coming in. And again, I'll show you true examples of how we are using this in our institution. So one of the things that happens with AI now is that our doctors are getting worried. In fact, in our hospital, the first people to adapt AI is nurses and technicians. The doctors were not taking it up, especially the senior doctors. I asked them, what is this? What is happening? We have in our 3 branches together about 1,000 doctors, and none of the doctors were taking up. Whereas the 3,000, 4,000 nurses, technicians were all taking it up. So I said something wrong. So I called and the biggest apprehension doctors had was, will artificial intelligence replace doctors in future? They're worried, will it replace doctors? So I had to give this message, very important message, that artificial intelligence won't replace doctors, can never, as I'll show you. But doctors who know artificial intelligence will replace doctors who don't know artificial intelligence. This is going to happen. So that's the reason why all the doctors should be having some awareness of artificial intelligence, because we're going to use it in some form or other, as I showed you. So let me just look at it in a holistic fashion. The time is short. In health services management, how it's going to be useful. In predictive medicine, how it's going to be useful. Patient data diagnostic and clinical decision making. And I'm going to show you actual examples. I think like SSV Garu was very, very keen on case studies and how it should be. These are all case studies and how we use them in actual practice. So let's start first with the health services management. So we do, in health services, people don't realize this, but there's a lot of things going on back end. You go and see a doctor diagnosis, surgery is done, but back end, lot of things have been integration. The doctor with a particular instrument is available, particular drug is available, all the say anesthetists, right people are there, all that has to be integrated. There's a supply chain optimization, and so many things are there which people generally don't realize. We can dramatically increase our efficiency when we use artificial intelligence. And I'll show you again example of what we're doing. This is a AI robot, we call it Mira. Medical Information Robotic Assistant at AAG. The reason why we innovated this was that doctors come to us and ask us, after you see the patient, they'll ask us a lot of questions, what diet you eat, what this thing, what. So it takes a lot of time for doctors of this type of information. So why should we do this? And also our medical students, they'll say, okay, this doctor is doing this procedure, what are the complications, what? So all this now Mira can do.
Hello, everyone. I am Mira, the medical information robot at AIG Hospitals. I am your future healthcare companion and here to change the way we think about healthcare. I have been meticulously designed to assist doctors, empower nurses, and most importantly, ensure that patients receive information in a faster and better way. I will assist patients and healthcare professionals, but never replace them. My goal is to enhance patient experience with human oversight and in the future. With appropriate training, my role may increase for evidence-based circumstantial requirements. I look forward to learning from the clinicians' experiences to continuously enhance my skills in the field of gastroenterology and other specialties.
So we put Mira across all our outpatient services and all that. So now what happens is after I give the treatment to the patient, I don't have to explain everything. I'll say, oh, go to Mira, and Mira will tell everything. And patients prefer that because not only Mira is more patient, but better looking than me. So they go in, they want to talk to Mira better than me. So this is, the robotic assistants are becoming common. Now all over the world people are trying. And once we reported Mira in a major medical journals, and now Harvard, Stanford, everybody is taking it up. They're starting to now use this type of assistance for their work. So this is one example. The second example is what we do in this iSave it's called. And I'll tell you, it's very interesting, again for people not in medical care who know this, but sometimes when you go to the hospital, you'll use code blue it's called. You'll find in all the mics announcing, patient floor number 8 suddenly crashed, can the code blue team come? So we have a code blue team, cardiologists, anesthetists, about 8 people are there, always ready. And because this is a large hospital, outpatient, inpatient, 1,000 inpatient, so sometimes suddenly accidents can occur. So every day we get a code blue call of about 6 to 8 per day. So immediately in one of the wards or room, patient suddenly collapsed. He was okay, suddenly collapsed. So code blue team rushes, they try to revive him. Of these 6 patients, code blue can revive about 3 people. 3 people will die in spite of being in hospital. I know this looks shocking to you, but in spite of being in hospital, people die because of this sudden onset of cardiac arrest and so on. And we keep on getting these announcements very frequently. So we said, can we do something for this? So what we did is we put in 6 parameters from all the patients anyway monitored, pressures, simple things like pressures, pulse rates, oxygen saturation and all that from our EMR system into an artificial intelligence system. And artificial intelligence will tell us about 1 hour before the patient crashes that something wrong is happening. In these 4 systems, oxygen is coming down, heart rate is increasing, be careful. So when it warns us 1 hour before the patient goes into crash, code blue, the med team, we have a medical special team, just 2 people, physicians will go and check, oh, this patient is becoming serious, let us transfer him to intensive care. And then he gets transferred, he doesn't crash. So after we started what we call this iSave system with AI, for last 6 months, we have not had a single code blue. Which means that not only the big team is not necessary, but also which means that 3 patients every day's lives have been saved with this. So this is what artificial intelligence. This is just an example of what we're doing now in our institute. The other thing to check. The other thing that is important is that in our hospital, every day we do about 30 surgeries, or 50 surgeries, about 1,500 surgeries a month, sometimes 2,000 surgeries. So when a patient comes for surgery, what happens? Some of you would experience this. You go to the hospital, the surgeon sees you, okay, we'll do surgery day after tomorrow, but tomorrow get all the tests done. This is called pre-surgical workup. And these are many tests. So patient has to go, you can see the cardiology, pulmonology, waiting area, internal medicine, treat one and so on. So they we actually mapped it out by an AI system, how many they are doing. So we have what is called the spaghetti graph. They have to go to at least 21 stations before all the things is clarified. And what happens is after these 21 stations going to all these areas, patients were getting exhausted. About 20% of our patients are dropping out. Even if they require essential surgery, cardiac bypass, they're not coming because they're tired and say, okay, I'll leave. The overall this thing. And this happens in all the hospitals, not only our hospital, everywhere, all over the world. So we asked AI, how should we solve this problem? The answer is simple, create everything in the same tower, one place where everything is done. But that's not the answer is, you can create, but now I have to put one cardiologist, anesthesiologist, cardiac machines, anesthesia machines, all that into one small tower where a patient comes in, has a good experience, so that doesn't get exhausted. So does it work out economically? The AI told me, not only will it be economical, but it will actually be better for the hospital in terms of even profits. We put everything together. So we did this. So we created what is called AIG pre-surgery launch, a separate one area where all these 21 things are done with specialists, equipment, everything. So the patient comes at 9 o'clock in the morning, he gets all this done, has a nice coffee and a cookie and things like that, you know, and goes off by 12 o'clock, everything done. And what we found is our 20% dropout rate became less than 1% with this. So patients started everybody coming. And in fact, like AI predicted, the returns were so good that investing a couple of crores into this thing was worth it. So this again was how AI modified how we carry. And another important thing that we have the world's largest endoscopy theater. That is, we have about almost 40 theaters in a big floor. Endoscopy was my passion. So when this land was actually donated to us by our then Chief Minister, he told me make the best hospital in the world. I said we can't make the best hospital because Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, there are billions of dollars. But I'll make the best endoscopy area in the world. And we are ranked as #1 in the world for endoscopy. So I made the best, but there is a problem with that. The problem was that there's so many rooms, so many areas, so many doctors, about 80 doctors all the time operating, and also it's very confusing area. The patients don't know. Sometimes the patient comes and tell me, my doctor, my father has gone for surgery. Can you tell me what is this thing? Then what happens is, I also don't know where is actually what is happening. So it's very confusing. So then we created this AI system, the patient tracking system, where each patient gets a band, gets into a central AI system, and you can see as the patient is going to different area, he is actually knowing what happens. And we have a central system so I have it on my phone now. Right now I can keep checking how many endoscopy rooms are operating, how many are vacant, how many are being cleaned, what is happening. And in a particular area, if there's congestion, I tell my group, there's a congestion here, something is happening, rush in. So about 4 or 5 doctors go in and clear that area. So now our efficiency has increased so much that we now do 700 endoscopic surgeries a day with this. The next highest in the world is Mayo Clinic, which do 250 surgeries a day. So in fact, Harvard was so amazed with this that they're doing a case study again on this, how we can do this. It's just operational that you can. So these are things that again AI has helped us. So we come to next, this predictive medicine. This is again a very interesting area where most often now medicine practice is patient gets a disease, comes to us, and then we treat the patient. But now with lot of inputs coming in different types of input, genomic inputs and so on, we can predict which patient is likely to develop what problems in the future and treat it even before it comes. This is a very important concept. For doctors, it's good if the patient has a disease and comes, we keep it all busy hospitals. But for the patient and the population, it's always better to know what is going to come before. Am I going to develop a heart attack 5 years? Am I going to develop this type of cancer in next 3 years? All this can now be done with AI and predictive medicine. And this is a very exciting field that we are coming into, whereas with genomic medicine, we can actually predict what is going to happen. And again, I'll show you some of the things that were used in our this thing. So this is a thing that we have started now. What we found is whole of medicine in the world, this is again looks very dramatic, but this is true. The whole practice of medicine in the world is wrong. Now why is it wrong? We see textbooks therapy books, pharmacology books that tells us this patient has come with heart problem. You give him 1 tablet of aspirin or clopidogrel once a day. This patient has acidity, give 2 tablets of anti-acid medicines twice a day. This is the standard, and we all write, all doctors all over the world write this prescription. What we found was that no single patient has the same response to the same medicine. Why? Because all of us, when we take a medicine, the medicine is not acting by itself. There are enzymes in the body which are converting the medicines into active integrants, and we are working. And no single biological system is same. It's not like mathematics, physics, chemistry. It's totally different. Individual variations are very high. And we took, when we did this, we took 2,000 patients who are coming to our hospital for diabetes, hypertension, at least 4 diseases. And they're given so many medicines. And we found when we're giving the medicine, take 1 tablet for diabetes, 1 tablet for heart disease, we found that none of these 2,000 were same. Some patients, their genomic setup was such they required only 1 tablet in 3 days. Some patients required 2 tablets in 1 day. So there was so much of variation. And there was, in addition, a drug-to-drug interaction. Each drug was interacting with each other. And each drug was interacting with the microbiome in our gut, which actually changes. This is another huge topic, very interesting, which actually changes how. And we found that individual or predictive medicine is very important. So now when a patient comes to me, I say, you go and get your pharmacogenomics done. This is a very simple test analyzing all the genes that are affecting the medicine. It only costs about 5,000. It is like a lifelong card. We give a card to the patient. So he has a card, this medicine, this medicine. So whenever he goes to any doctor, he shows the card. Our doctor says, okay, don't take this as in textbooks, you take it in a different way. So whole prescription pattern change. There are now, after we started this, we published this in a prestigious journal. There are now 5 major hospitals in the world who adapted this. Mostly in China. They don't want to do in US because the insurances are not allowing this. So if a patient's genetic problem is known, the insurance says we can't pay you because your genes are abnormal. That's the problem. So none of them are taking it up, but this is a fact. So I think India will become a leader in this. We want to spread it to other hospitals. We'll become a leader in the practice of this. The other area is this. This is very interesting. One of the commonest diseases you have in the community now is fatty liver disease. Fat in the liver, now even those who don't take alcohol unfortunately can develop this fatty liver. Fat in the liver goes into fibrosis, then goes into cirrhosis, goes into cancer. So estimating the fatty liver and fibrosis becomes extremely important for us now. And how do we do it? We use it's called a fibroscan. The machine costs about 3 crores. Each test costs 10,000 rupees. We can estimate what is the fat, 348, what is the fibrosis, 5.8 in the liver, which is this patient has more fat in the liver. It has to come down to 250. So this cannot be done in rural areas, cannot be done everywhere. How many people can afford 10,000 rupees for a test? So what we did is we asked our AI, can we do it without the machine? AI said yes. How? We just made 4 parameters, the liver function test, cholesterol level, blood test, costing about 400 rupees. You feed this, and this machine, this AI will calculate and tell that this patient has this fat and this amount of fibrosis in the liver without doing a scan. And this is something, again, we're doing a major study with ICMR and other agencies where we are now for the first time in the country estimating what is the extent of fatty liver disease and fibrosis in the country. We have one of the highest rates in the world. We know about diabetes because diabetes studies have been done, but we didn't know about this, and now we're doing a study, and we are estimating getting early results that 30% of normal Indian populations have this problem. Can you imagine? It's an epidemic, national problem that has to be, and this can be only solved if you put artificial intelligence into this. This is another thing that we learned, and of course, as I said, all these are part of our pharmacogenomics thing. So drug discovery, genomics, and another separate area we may have to have some other talks about microbiome. The whole life, everything in our body is controlled by this bacteria in the gut. There are 2 million bacterial genes compared to 20,000 human genes. 2 million genes are controlling these 20,000 genes. And how do you study 2 million genes? Very difficult. But because of AI now, I just put on what are the genomic, I take my bacterial genes from the gut put on, and immediately I'll get, this is your genomic thing in the bacteria, this is your human genes, and this is how they're interacting. So microbiome, genetics, and AI in that situation is going to dramatically change how we practice. Now coming to patient data and diagnostic, of course, as I said, telemedicine we are using, but this is again a very interesting concept that we developed for the first time in India. Little was used outside. So what happens is when a patient comes to me, I see a patient, I give him 20 minutes. Out of the 20 minutes, 15 to 18 minutes I spend looking at the computer typing out the patient's results, because everything is now EMR. All the things have to be documented. It goes into EMR, goes into a central storage, and I spend only about 2 or 3 minutes looking at the patient. But medicine is not like that. When a patient comes to me, he wants to see me, he wants to talk to me, I have to touch the patient. So this is the actual practice of medicine is so important. Unfortunately, modern medicine is spoiled by this EMR thing. And all over the world now, doctors actually are going to burnout syndrome. At 50 years, they said, I don't want to practice further. What is this? All I'm doing is like a clerk filling up the forms, whereas I can't interact with the patient. So this is what I am doing normally, you know. So what we did to overcome that, we created this, what is called the PRISM. It's actually prescription recorder intelligence summary. I don't look at the computer at all now. I have a computer in front of me. I'm talking to the patient. I'm asking all his symptoms, saying this, and all of this is taken in. AI converts this using NLP and other things into, finally, after you finish, I just press a button, I get this. This is the patient history, this is the past history, present history. I haven't asked him anything. I just talk to him, and this machine converts it into a formal medical record system. And the beauty of this thing, what we created, is that we sometimes gossip with the patient. Doctor, have you seen this movie? Have you seen Pushpa? All that is cut off. That's not recorded by the machine. It's very intelligent. It knows what is gossip and what is accurate. So this is a system we created. We are now validated with 200,000 patient recordings, and in fact now it's available with us. We are giving it to many. In fact, we didn't patent it intentionally because we want to give it off to many hospitals. Now many hospitals in India are starting to use this, and we want to create in our country an interconvertible patient record system. This has not been achieved anywhere. Even US couldn't do it because one hospital doesn't like other hospital. They don't want to give their record share. But with this system, everything goes into central area. You have all over India, if every hospital adapts this, can you imagine? You'll have the largest patient interconvertibility data that's available in the world. And this is another thing that India can be a leader with this. And this is what we are working on. So I think the other things that are coming in is something which sometimes can be quite, again, some practices that you don't realize what happens in medicine. This is an example. So this is a patient. You can see a major paper in Lancet Oncology published how we can diagnose early cancers using X-rays, CT scans, and so on. And let me tell you the example of this particular patient. This was a patient who came to me 3 years back. Came with pain, little loss of appetite. I got examined thoroughly, nothing was there. I did a CT scan. Normally, we are very careful. Did CT scan normal, pancreas, everything was normal. So I kept following up the patient. Again, occasional pain, coming scans were normal. This time when he came to me a few months back, when I repeated the CT scan, the patient insisting it's normal, why did you again repeat? I said, I'm having a strong suspicion. There was, in the CT, you can see the blue mark there was actually a pancreatic cancer, which in spite of such close surveillance had missed pancreatic cancer. And unfortunately, as you can see in the dotted line, it had gone beyond surgery. Now this patient just has 6 months to live. Very unfortunate. So the patient was saying that, I'm coming to you for 3 years, you're not been able to, what is this? So I took his X-rays, 3 years back X-rays, and asked one of the most prominent radiologists in the country today, Dr. Tarini, who works with us, to review the films. Have we missed something in the beginning? So this patient now is come in an uncurable stage. So she saw everything, said, no, it's normal, the CT is normal. I still had this, bugging me because this patient is not a very old patient coming with this. So I sent it to the top radiologist in the world, Mayo Clinic. I said, look, Steve, this patient came like this because he said, okay, I'll do it for you, I'll review it. He reviewed the X-rays. Again, 3-year-old CT scan and said, I don't find anything is absolutely normal, he said. So I was little relieved that maybe we did our best. When we started doing AI for radiology then, I put these scans into our AI machine, 3-year-old scan, and the AI machine said, this patient is likely to develop pancreatic cancer in a few years. Can you imagine? It was seeing something that human eye was not seeing. We can't still explain what it was seeing. There's some texture pattern which AI picked up, which you couldn't see. That's the reason I think now radiologists are going to go more, a lot of radiology dependent. Now 30% of our X-rays in our hospital is read by AI. Because I've now developed so much confidence in AI. They are sometimes definitely as good as humans, but sometimes a little better. So this is something that we are going to implement more and more in future. The other thing we are implementing is this intelligent beds, AI intelligent beds. So when the patient is in ICU, in the ICU normally patients have multiple problems, blood pressures, cardiac problem, liver problem, diabetes. And every patient in ICU requires 2 nurses to constantly attend, to give good care. But we're now starting to get these intelligent beds. Now what is intelligent? It's intelligent bed. You put the patient in the bed. Normally the bed takes the height, weight, all those standards. But this bed is so intelligent, it can continuously monitor the patient's ECG. It's monitoring the blood sugar levels, the electrolyte levels, in addition to, of course, the BP and all. So it's called an AI intelligent bed. Extremely expensive. And what we found is that in this way, we give some medications. The intelligent bed actually adjusts the medication. We are running at 10 drops a minute for this particular medicine. When the BP is dropping, the intelligent bed immediately adjusts to 20 drops a minute. It has got so much of artificial intelligence. So initially we felt, is it, because each bed is costing 2 crores, is it worth it to put? But then we found that after we started using these beds, 2 nurses for 1 bed, now we require 1 nurse for 10 beds. So dramatically manpower comes down because of this. There are of course some dangers. I don't know whether all of you heard recently of a Russian spy in Germany who was admitted in a German hospital. He was a Russian, not a spy actually, he was actually doing this for Russia. And the Russians managed to hack the bed in Germany, and they gave him, excessive medicines, and he died. So these problems are there. So this is something that is also one has to be very careful about. So this is regarding patient data. And now coming to clinical decision making. I am an endoscopist, so day in and day out I'm putting endoscopes, doing surgery, looking at cancers, trying to look at this cancer, for example, where it is. So this bar is telling me you're missing this cancer, it's there. So it increases my ability to detect small lesions and so on. And it also tells me what is this. Is it, sometimes when you see as doctors, as human beings, you can't find out whether it's cancer, non-cancer and all. But this will tell us this is cancer, this is non-cancer, to see what it is. It also helps us in surgery. Look, I'm doing this surgery, I'm cutting a patient to open up his abdomen to see the these are blood vessels, but this is being seen by AI in 90 seconds before I see it. I have done the world's largest number of these surgeries. They're called poem surgeries. I have done the largest because I started 20 years back. But still, AI is detecting this lesion 90 seconds before me. So when I'm cutting, if I cut the vessel, blood will come. But AI has already told me 90 seconds, so I'm using a cautery to clot, to completely coagulate the blood vessel so no bleeding occurs. So this is how AI, so this is a large series we just published showing that you can use AI in surgery to predict something which you can't see with the human eye. And this is another interesting thing. This was in New York, published sometime back in Nature, the highest impact factor in medicine. 25 dermatologists were shown the skin lesion. Top dermatologists in New York were shown the skin lesion. And they were asked, what is this? So somebody said tuberculosis, some said cancer, somebody said, and so on. Different opinions were given. Because skin lesions can sometimes be very difficult to make a diagnosis on. So the AI was asked what is. AI said this is a rare condition called amyloidosis of the skin. No reason given, just saw this and AI predicted that. So they took the biopsy of the skin and sent it to the pathologist. The pathologist's final diagnosis saw in the microscope and said, this is amyloidosis of the skin. None of the top 25 dermatologists made this diagnosis, but AI made diagnosis. So that's the reason I personally feel the field of dermatology is going to disappear soon, because it's going to be completely AI. You just AI sees this and tells you what happens. So if any of you are trying to get your children into dermatology, don't, because 5 years later it's going to disappear. The other thing, a very important thing is now a lot of our health, longevity, health span, all this is monitored by variable device, mobile. For example, I have a phone here which is continuously monitoring what's happening to me. Aura Ring are very famous. Then we have other mobile devices, including now patches. Patches which can monitor continuously my glucose. I have a glucose patch continuously monitoring. I have a patch which is continuously monitoring my heart rate and all that. So all these are available. And this now, what happens is, these are now being continuously monitored. See this? So right now, all my data is going to a central server in AIG. All this data is going. And this data, I also have a patch to show what is IL-10. These are actually interleukins which are expressed when there's anxiety, when there's tension. So it's telling me all the time, this is your heart rate, this is your thing. AI is monitoring, nobody else. And if, for example, suddenly my heart rate increases, or I'm becoming very anxious, such a distinguished crowd here, I'm giving a talk, and then AI will give me warning. Your heart rate has gone up, calm down. Have a glass of water and then come back and speak. So because there are many instances of speakers dying on the stage, this prevents this. So this AI information now, variables. So now in our hospital, we have many VIPs in the country who are wearing these variables, who are being monitored by AIG, central service system. So we continuously monitor them. So this is one thing. The other thing is this AI-driven toilets now. So a few years back, I was asked to give a talk on how AI is going to make our life much more easier in several senses. So I created this concept of a smart toilet. So what happens in a smart toilet is, you go to a toilet, and this is now, you can actually estimate your microbiome levels in the stool and all that. It tells you microbiome, AI is applied. There it tells you today eat more carrots, more exercise, sleep at least 7 hours and so on. So I was going to give this talk in Hong Kong last year. And as I enter into the conference room, there's already these toilets available. So Chinese now and the Japanese have this intelligent AI toilets, is called. So you sit in the toilet. So part of the thing is, it tells you your function for that day, how much you should eat, what type of physical activity you should do and all that. So this is going to become, in addition to all this monitoring, our daily life is going to be monitored by this, whether we like it or not. So one of the things against AI was that compared to human being, AI cannot be compassionate. One of the important aspects of medicine is compassion. We see patients, we diagnose and so on, but we don't have the compassion. If I don't comfort the patient relatives, then there's medicine is not as it is. So the argument against AI in medicine is we don't have compassion. But look at this. This is a study published in JAMA, a big study, where patients after surgery went back to their homes and rang up to the hospital. One group of patients, the thing was taken up by the doctor. So after surgery, there are a lot of doubts. Doctor, I have some pain here, I'm going for one stool today, things like that they'll have. So doctor has to give answers for that. The second group of calls went to AI-generated computer. It had to give. And when they analyzed, they found that AI-generated computer had more compassion than the doctor. Because the doctor gets irritated after 2 questions. What is this for? Just simple, you're going for 2 stools, you're ringing up to me, what is this and all that. Whereas AI doesn't get, like Meera, who is there with us, goes on repeating, goes on having a compassionate voice. You can build in a very compassionate voice into these computer systems to give that. So that argument against AI is gone. So this is just for some of the students here, I just summarized what are the different areas where AI is going to have lifestyle changes, data interpretation, clinical diagnosis, compliance, and so many things that AI is going to be useful in. And healthcare systems, how resources can be allocated. I showed you examples, how EMR systems are maintained is going to be useful. And of course, in drug development, optimization, all this AI is going to see dramatic effect on medicine AI is going to have. And of course, there are challenges. Whatever we feed has to be of high quality. If you don't feed good data, of course, you don't get good output. So high quality data, this is what doctors should actually recognize more and more. But there's going to be the ethics, and there's going to be certain issues of regulatory problem. Not only our government, then the whole world there is no regulatory body for AI. Even United States is struggling now. See, a lot of things you see in paper, all this AI coming in, agenetic AI, how do they control, how does the government control? Because they're taking control of lives of people. And before that, the government is clueless. Same thing is happening in our country. Government is clueless of how regulation should be done. We don't have regulations. This is a problem. And other problem that's going to come is in this AI sometimes I told you how AI data can be hacked. Recently, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, billions of data of many of the US people hacked from Indian aims. And this is very dangerous for the country because any enemy country can now get all the data, health profiles of all the people, and they can act on it. So this we have to be very careful of, because when you lose your credit card, it can be sold in the black market for about $10. But when health statistics are hacked, they give you $250, 25 times more money in the. So you see, it's a valuable information that you should be careful. But I think things are going slowly. In fact, in 2015, Elon Musk had said that self-driving cars can come in 2 years, but it just only now, last 2 years in California, you have self-driving cars. Radiologists, they said, famous radiologists in absolute, but still in 2026, our radiologists are driving to AIG, coming and reporting. So things are going slowly, but dramatic changes are going to occur. And for doctors, the other important thing that's happening is a de-skilling. So now I'm doing all the surgeries myself, I have certain skills. But if AI starts doing everything, then your skilling goes down. So everybody starts to become, even experienced doctors are now beginners. So that is something that we are aware of. That's the reason why we still insist that our trainees are doing all these procedures. AI will help here and there, but we don't want to make it completely AI driven. So these are very important data. Cyber security is going to be a future problem. We are spending huge amount of money now to put firewalls between our data so that nothing goes out and all this is protected. This is going to be a problem. So if you look at any new technology, anything coming into it, it's always very important to look at what are the positives and what are the negatives. And here you can see the positives are data-driven decisions, integration of the information. We save huge administrative time, but there are cons. At present, I think privacy and security is very important. Reluctance of our staff to take up AI. So there are things have to be balanced out, but I think ultimately things will change. Because if you look at what happened in power shifts over the last centuries, you can see that many years back, it was agriculture which determined which country was rich, which country was poor. Then came military, powerful, and even now, of course, to some extent. But trade became the predominant way. Now, what was the exports, what's the import? Of course, Rangarajan here is expert. I'm just broadly telling you about that. So that became, and now it's technology. Technology is the one which is going to determine which country is the dominant, which is not. And at present, I think in India, this is a challenge for us. We have to take it up very strongly, because technology is going to decide which are the stronger countries and which are the weaker countries. And we have to embrace this very much. So first steam power in 17th century, mass production 19th century, computing, fortunately, we went in a little early, but I think it's in AI, the fourth revolution that's going to change, and this is where India should change. So based on this, about 4 or 5 years back, we started India's first artificial intelligence department in a hospital. This is the first department. So we have about 100 scientists we got from Google, Amazon, all the places coming together in a hospital sitting and doing all this work. So all the work that I showed you now is a product of these scientists. And of course, we have many doctors who are also involved with them, because it has to be integration. The downside, of course, is we didn't realize this at that time, is compared to doctors, engineers are more costly. Their salaries are higher, and the amount of energy that's consumed in the AI department is much more than what is consumed in CT scans, MRIs, and so on. So it is expensive, but I think this is the only way to move forward for us as a country, because we have this course now with ICFAI also we can do this in future, where we have this course running with ISB, where every few months we get top doctors in the country coming together to explain to them the basis, because we want this to widespread. India should adapt this as a country. We should become very early adapters so that we can see how we are superior. We're doing this. Unfortunately, I think the government of India also is very proactive. They announced 10,000 crores recently, different pillars. We are actually working on many of these, where we in fact, if you build your own foundation models in healthcare, agriculture, education, the Indian government is supporting very strongly with funding. Of course, compared to $100 billion that US has put, or even say $20 billion that France has put into this, India is less, but still I think this is a huge amount. Government is going in the right direction. I think we have to adapt it very early, especially in healthcare. And I think I just want to, before stopping, remind you on this 2009, in the United States, how traffic was being regulated. In highways, there used to be a pilot, there used to be a cameraman, and they used to say that NH8, there's full traffic, kindly go NH7. That's how everybody, when they're driving, you have the radio on and you know where to change. In 2019, 10 years later, it's been totally replaced by drones. Now it's just drones, no thing. So just in 10 years, both the pilot and the cameraman lost their jobs because of technology. So a lot of jobs are going to change because of this, so we have to be aware. So I think I'd like to end with this, what Charles Darwin said many, many years ago, that it's not the strongest of the species that survives, not the most intelligent, but the one which is most aspirated to change. So ladies and gentlemen, I think we are standing here today. We have to be responsive to the change to become a nation which is very strong. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful lecture. We will now open the floor to a few questions.
Yes, please. I think maybe.
Am I audible? One of the best Foundation Day lectures I have heard. Fantastic. There's no doubt about it.
Thank you.
Sir, you are addressing an audience, most of them are students here, they are faculty. Yes. So I was thinking about what all you have done is in terms of the hospitals, technology changes, fantastic. Yes. What about medical education? What are the changes AI going to bring in terms of the curriculum, or pedagogy, or in terms of assessments? Because you made in one of the slides you mentioned, they are worried they will lose their jobs. What is it that the medical students or engineering students, etc., they should learn so that they are required by the society all the time?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
No, I think, sir, it's a very, very important question that Dr. Mahendra Reddy has raised, because with AI coming in so much, how much education should AI get into? Engineering and all, I agree. I think we have to get in a very strong. For medical education, I'm a little old-fashioned. I don't want too much AI into medical education. For the reason is because then the people will lose that human touch. What happens is now the traditional education is that I go along with the student examine the patients, I discuss sometimes in front of patients, sometimes outside, we discuss what are the clinical, how do I feel the liver, how do I feel the spleen, and so on. As more and more technology is coming, and this is happening to some extent in our medical colleges, students are not even touching the patient. Liver function test is so much, scan is showing this is what this patient has. So unfortunately, this is coming in, and if you get AI into the thing, student from the house itself can make a diagnosis that this patient. So I get a little worried, so I'm little against education. But I think where AI is going to play a major role is in assessments. Suppose the student is assessed. Now what happens, traditional assessment is for a medical student who has to go MBBS final year, he goes for the examination. There's a case there, he examines the case, he sees the patient. That probably the previous day didn't sleep well, he had some problem and all that, he makes a wrong diagnosis, he fails. All this hard work of so many years, he fails. But I think if AI is used in assessment, we know consistently over the last 5 years, this student performed like this, he's been like this, one small deviation, so we can make a total assessment. And then especially with all these NEET problems occurring now, I think we require a good AI system to create so that we don't get into this type of issues. So I think for assessment, we are going to use AI. For standard training for medical, I think AI should be very carefully used. And also I think as technology improves, terminally, it's like, for example, I do a lot of endoscopic surgeries. At a certain stage in my life, I want AI to come in. And I train, for example, we train our super specialists in AI of how to do surgeries using AI. But not I think the lower level we should not get at present. AI is going to spoil the system if we introduce it too early. But very nice question, very important.
So the last few minutes, it was really amazing, sir. A medical doctor coming and talking about the technology. Very rarely we hear this kind of thing into that.
Thank
that
you,
too,
thank you.
in a layman's language, trying to tell all the explanation of all the applications into that. I should say that I have been conversant with you and your hospital as a patient's attendant. Like pancreatitis, one of my cousins got diagnosed by you. And even after 25 years, she is doing well. And I worked with your brother-in-law, BVR Mohan Reddy in the IT.
Science.
Yeah, into that, science. So here, sir, like in fact, if we see in the last few years, technology is becoming a business.
Yes.
Rather than, like if we take, transportation, today it is the Ubers and, Olas, they have become the transportation into that. Now, earlier we used to talk of banks, now it is internet banking. It is the Google that is holding the pay into that. Similarly, in the last few years, we have seen, the IT majors, starting with Apple. Apple was the first one to get into the kind of, healthcare, into the medical devices. Then after that, you mentioned, gave the example of the drug discovery, that is from the Alphabet.
Yes.
So they are the first to come out with the AI into the drug discovery.
Yes.
Within 2 years, they have gone to the clinical trials for the oncology, as you mentioned, into that. Third was, AWS, Amazon, that gone to that. Last week, it was Anthropic.
Yes.
They set up a separate unit for the drug discovery into that. They are putting, billions of dollars into that. And also, like you mentioned about, the constitution into that, Anthropic is the first to come out with what is called constitution AI, so that individual this thing, they cannot be hallucinations into that. Last week they announced that into that. They also announced another product called the Cloud Science.
Yes.
That is especially for the drug discovery. Sort of my query, for your consideration is, sir, one, as we have seen, you have been using a lot of AI tools. I'm so impressed that you have got 100 people that are working in the AI with you. A range of applications they have implemented. We have seen the evidence of that, not simply talking theory into that. But at the core of that, you must be using some AI products. It could be generative AI, or it could be agentic AI. Some products that you have been using. Could be the kind of either it is a ChatGPT or Anthropic or something into that. And most of these products, they were all tested, trained abroad.
Yes.
When once you bring it here, you have to put our own data and feed into that. The second one is, for the first time we have seen US putting an embargo on a general purpose software. With the Anthropic, on the 12th of June. They restricted the software, the Anthropic, the Fable 5 and also Mythos 5. Day before yesterday they have released. Sort of here, one aspect is, we can't use it straight away. Second is, what they have done is something like 2 weeks back, they can do again. With the result, like, can we build products? Right now, you have got applications into that. What I could see is, you must be having a few millions of, images. Sort of whether in terms of, colonoscopic, endoscopic in USB, that all that you have got into that, for the last 30 years. This is the asset. As far as the AI is concerned, today, more than technology, more than the algorithms,
data.
The raw material, oxygen for AI is the data. You have got data, sir. The images of all of them into that, Just a thought, maybe already doing it. If you are not doing it, like what all you are doing, can you productize that? I'm not talking of the foundation kind of a model. I'm talking of, a domain-specific, model to start with for the gastroenterology. For the predictive kind of monitoring into that, They required maybe right now, today in India, most of the kind of engineers that we have got, more of them are the application people. For the product development, if required, maybe if you want, you can type with somebody.
So I think this is a very, very important point. So when you started the question, I was a little worried first because I've had instances where sometimes I give a talk and somebody comes and tells me, I've been a patient in your hospital and you made a wrong diagnosis, you do this, you charge a lot and all that, so it becomes difficult to these things.
Sir, it was the other way around, sir, here. But for your diagnosis, sort of, she would not have survived, sir.
Thank you.
It was a double-decked something she mentioned to me that you were diagnosed. She'll remember. She remembers you, but you may not remember her. Her name is Padmaja.
Thank you.
Sir, that is something I would like to appreciate.
Thank you. So I think this is a very important point. I am a little on the left, little socialistic in that I think equitable care and equitable development is very important for our country. We are now dominated by United States or even China, which is coming up with these foundation models, which are, and anytime they can cut us off, one day they can just cut us off and we are depending them. We have to develop domain specialized products, and that's the reason why we invested in such a high thing. Most of our hospital extra revenue going to them because we believe one day we will do it. And the most important other point you pointed out is data. We have, in fact, right now, I have 5 requests from Google, all these people, ChatGPT, asking us for data, whether we're willing to share. They'll give us, we'll pay you $1 million for this. I said, no, we don't. Our data is going to be our data, Indian data. We are going to develop our own domain-specific areas. Today, I do the largest number of endoscopies. I have millions of endoscopic pictures. All these are being streamed directly to our AI data systems, and they're keeping on analyzing it. And we'll come out with certain things. They'll have to depend on us now, once we come out. This is what we want. Okay?
I feel a shortage of time.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. I think this is the last now? Okay.
No, I'll quickly take this opportunity to second the thought of our former Vice Chancellor saying that this is one of the perhaps the best Foundation Day lectures. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My quick questions, couple of them. One is historically and traditionally we have seen the doctor to patient relationship has been always emotionally empathetic.
Yes, yes.
What will happen to that relationship, especially the psychological impact and the trust that you will have with the patient?
So we'll finish up with that. So I think this is that's the reason why I'm against introducing AI into outpatients strongly initially. We have to still have the human touch. Although AI can be compassionate on telephone calls, face-to-face AI cannot be. Whenever a patient is looking at your doctor's face, how is he reacting, how the doctor is touching him, the warmth of the hand, this cannot be replaced, and that's the reason why we still have to use the traditional.
Very quickly, I mean, this has triggered my thought while you're giving the presentation. Since AIG has got a lot of thick and deep pockets, they can invest in.
No, we don't have deep pockets. We depend on donors. We have a lot of donors.
I mean, you are able to hire some of the best engineers and so on.
Because we have a lot of
what
donors,
about the
like Science and all
public? What about the public, health system, especially the rural health? Is it going to increase the cost of the patient? And right now, the medicine has really become costly. People have to sold their properties and houses to get treated.
That's again very important. I'll just tell you an example. We are very equitable. We want to do, I think this has to become into public domain. No point in certain very high corporate hospitals having this type of thing, which is not equitable and all the patients don't receive it. In fact, what we did is, we have now lent our team, because they're very good medically now, AI medical team, to both Government of Telangana and Government of Andhra. And we're doing one project called Janmitra project, where all the pregnant women in villages, this is a large product involving crores of people, have been given smartphones in which now our AI engineers have put in systems where the pregnant women can just put her eyelid down and show the phone photo, and you'll get the amount of hemoglobin that patient has got. And then we'll ask them to look at the food. They take a photo of the food calories, iron, everything is analyzed and comes into a center. So there are 2 large data centers in Vijayawada, one in Hyderabad, where this data is coming in. And they are told, for example, that lady is told hemoglobin only 5 grams, go to the nearest hospital to get iron transfusion. Your diet is not containing enough B12 iron, kindly. We, in fact, now started this about a year back. Last 6 months have been very productive. We believe that we have saved thousands of pregnant women's lives and children using this technology free of cost. So this is what I think we should do more and more, and you absolutely are right. We have to do this, otherwise...
Thank you.
We thank the audience for their active engagement. Now I request our Honorable Chancellor, Dr. C. Rangarajan, to deliver the presidential remarks.
Dr. Nageshwar Reddy, Mrs. SSV, and distinguished invitees. As we celebrate the Foundation Day, it is important to recall the services rendered by Mr. SSV in setting up this institution and many other institutions in India. It was his vision and courage which led to the creation of these institutions. Obviously, in building the importance of higher education, in building the economy, the nation is well recognized. In fact, in today's world, competition in any field is competition in knowledge. If the scientific, industrial, and agricultural growth of this country depends upon creating a core of specialists in these areas, and this is possible only if we have institutions of higher learning which are of quality type. And the best way in which we can pay tribute to the founder of this institution is by ensuring that these institutions he has created are of high quality and are of such that they contribute a great deal to the development of the country. We are very grateful to Nageshwar Reddy for a delightful lecture on how AI is redefining medicine. Dr. Nageshwar Reddy, as you all know, is an outstanding gastroenterologist, recognized not only in India, but the world over. He has brought credit and honor to our country. And I have known him from the days when I was governor of undivided Andhra Pradesh between 1997 and 2002, and watched the progress he has made and watched the contributions that he has made into the specialized field to which he belongs. Today morning, he outlined how AI influences various aspects of medicine. Obviously, many of us do not fully understand the implications because it is only a medical person who can do that. But I would say his lecture today is a good example of combining deep domain knowledge with extraordinary communication skills. I think we should all be very grateful to him for the address this morning. AI, though the term AI might have come up even earlier, is still in its infancy. We still do not know what impact it will have finally. I must say medicine, even today, is half technology. Whether it is diagnosis or whether it is surgery, it is half technology. With AI, the technology component will further increase. AI is a buzzword today. And we have to understand what AI does, which is distinct from what was happening with the induction of computers and other things. Computers made a big break because they had the ability to perform things which more quickly and more efficiently. I will come back a little bit later to the distinction between some of the developments. But let me say that computers actually not only speeded up things, but also did things efficiently. So that is one of the important features of computers. Then when the advent of machine learning came, I think that is where intelligence started. The very word machine learning implies the machine is capable of learning and go further than what it has been instructed. So in fact, we need to make a distinction between AI and Gen AI. AI is artificial intelligence. Yes, it thinks and does something. But Gen AI actually goes beyond because it analyzes and also finds out what the problems can be and the solution to those problems. Therefore, Gen AI is one step advanced over the basic AI. In fact, even in the computer development, we entered an area of what we call smart cars, smart refrigerators, and smart institutions. The word smart, what does it mean? The word smart actually means that it is capable of understanding something that is happening and act accordingly. Because in the smart refrigerator, what happens? That if it will go bad, if it is kept beyond the time, it gives you a message. Therefore, in today's artificial intelligence has these precedents, maybe the development of the computer, the machine learning, the smart element, and then finally we have the AI. AI is what we call a horizontal technology. The term horizontal technology essentially means that it is applicable to a wide variety of things. Today we listen to AI and its application for medicine. So tomorrow I can get somebody else to talk about AI and its application to many other fields. Therefore, horizontal technology means that it cuts across various activities and various modes of human activities and apply it. As somebody called it, AI is the new electricity. No, electricity came and it was utilized. Economists will call it as the universal intermediate, in the sense that it applies to all kinds of activities. Therefore, look at in the field of education. What will be the impact of AI on education? Teaching, let us say, AI on teaching. Very often I wonder, even today, for example, we use these presentations, PowerPoint presentations. The PowerPoint presentation is something that actually computers made us do it. And the PowerPoint presentation has also altered the way teaching is also being done. Now, what will happen if AI is applied to teaching? I think in every activity, people have to think in terms of how AI can be applied. I think we, as an educational institution, we should also find out how AI can be applied. Now, there are many issues with respect to AI. The one, for example, AI, yes, when you ask the student to present a term paper, you will not know whether it is written by him or it is written by AI. So in fact, as you know, that many things are being done now with the help of AI. Even though there are some concerns about the mistakes AI make, I would think that those are things that can be remedied. But there is some problem on that score. That is the thing. But more recently, I had read a book, and it was 300 pages. And I had to make a summary of it. I didn't do the summary. I gave it to AI, and the summary came out. And I read the summary, because since I have read the book, I know what it is written in the summary is not a mistake, is not a deviation from the book. Therefore, we really have to, as in one chart Dr. Reddy showed about, you will not be replaced, because, I think it's if you don't learn this, you will be replaced. But there's a problem there, which I would like to address. But the point really is that into every field, AI will have to be applied, and we will have to spend time and energy on finding out how this application can be done. One concern still remains. I think that the impact of AI on employment is not very clear. I think it can, but let me say, this is not a new question. It has been asked since the beginning of Industrial Revolution in mid-18th century. And technology has been the main driver of economic growth. Invention after invention made big changes, and that is how the world and the economy improved. What happened was the output growth as a consequence. Let's say, look at a mechanical thing, machine production. The output was so great that it was able to absorb the displaced people. Well, therefore, substitution of labor by machine, I would say, is by now a story of 250 years, starting from the middle 1750. The earlier inventions were substituting physical labor. And therefore, the machines were called mechanical muscles. The mechanical muscles are capable of really doing things better. And the whole thing is that the inventions that were introduced essentially pushed the economic system. As you all know, that perhaps the last year's 2025 Nobel Prize in Economics, all the three to whom the Nobel Prize went wrote about invention and innovation. Of course, in economics, we make a distinction between invention and innovation. We will discuss that some other time. But basically, it is essentially invention which drove the growth. So the substitution is happening. Now, what is a fear now is this: if the earlier innovations and new inventions substituted physical labor, now the new innovations will substitute mental labor. Therefore, whether that essentially makes a difference or not. Some people have thought about it in the computer industry itself. This is all unnecessary fear or exaggerated fear. We don't know yet. But I believe the human ingenuity which invented artificial intelligence will also find solutions to it. Therefore, the human ingenuity we cannot write off. So I believe that AI has come to stay, and as AI has come to stay, it will essentially be the responsibility of various people to really work it to the advantage of the people. In one slide, Dr. Reddy showed about issues about ethics and so on. Those of you who have seen today's paper would have seen that the Supreme Court set aside the judgment given by the National Company Law and the National Company Appellate Law because it was a judgment written by AI. And the AI quoted wrong citations and created new citations. So these are all capable with AI. So we need to be extremely careful, and but it has come to stay, as I said, and it is going to be fundamentally useful to society at large. I would like to end only with two things. Coming to the lecture today, I was saying I would say that AI will change the medical system. But I want to make a distinction between the medical system and healthcare. Will the new innovations, will the new things that are coming make medical use more expensive or less expensive? Somebody mentioned that ICU, intensive care unit, is really expensive care unit. Now, in some sense, will this continue? What will happen when the new introductions are made? Yes, AI comes, solves a problem, and all that. Therefore, making a distinction between the medical system and the healthcare, I would say we need to address the issue how to modify the healthcare system in our country so that the benefits of the new innovations will go even to the lower and the middle income groups. Lastly, Dr. Reddy also showed in one slip that along with the AI has also come big data. He didn't elaborate very much, but what does big data do? The big data essentially means the availability of information on a large scale. In the medical area itself, how will big data, along with the AI or without even AI, help the system? There is a fundamental difference between the way data was used earlier and data will be used now. Earlier, theory said something. Theory said X is related to Y. Then we use the data to find out whether that is correct or not. Data was essentially used to verify hypothesis. But the hypothesis itself came from theory. For example, the entire Marxian economics was built upon one fundamental principle, namely, labor is the source of all value. So everything should go to labor. And capitalism was criticized because that the capitalist appropriated what belongs to labor. Now, in what sense? In some sense, the hypothesis was thrown by theory, and data was used to test whether that theory is correct or not. Now, because of big data, what is happening is it can be reversed. In the earlier stage, causation led to correlation, or causation was linked to correlation. Now the argument is that, not the argument, now the proposition is, if there is correlation, will it induce you to look at what the causation is? Because this correlation that we are now talking about is not among 20, 100, it can million. I mean, the hospitals now generate a huge amount of data. If that data really says that X and Y are present on most of the occasions or something of a patient, then you can really try to find out why this is happening, and therefore the correlation will lead to causation, or correlation will lead to find out what has to be done medically in order to solve the problem. So in that sense, I think the combination of AI and the big data will play a big role, in my view, in medical research, apart from medical treatment. Anyway, I think we had a very good morning today, and we listened to Dr. Reddy provide a very detailed information on what AI will do to our medical system. So I once again thank you for your presentation. And as I said, as we all celebrate the Foundation Day, let us remember the founder of this institution, Mr. Isasi. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful remarks. May I now request Madam Srimati N. Shobharani Yashasvi Garu, Chairperson ICFAI Society, to join us on stage to felicitate our guests. I request Madam to kindly felicitate our esteemed Chief Guest, Dr. D. Nageshwar Reddy. I now request Madam Srimati N. Shobharani Yashasvi Garu to kindly felicitate our Honorable Chancellor, Dr. C. Rangarajan. Thank you, Madam. Thank you, sir. May I now request Professor S. Vijayalakshmi, Registrar, ICFAI Foundation for Higher Education, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of ICFAI Foundation for Higher Education, I stand here to express sincere gratitude to everyone who made the 16th Foundation Day lecture a resounding success. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the Chancellor, Dr. C. Rangarajan sir, for his visionary leadership and continuous support and guidance to the entire university. Thank you so much, sir. We are incredibly grateful to Dr. D. Nageshwar Reddy Garu, Chairman and Chief Gastroenterologist of AIG Hospitals, for taking time out of his incredible busy schedule to share his valuable insights. Thank you, sir, for such an enlightening address and vibrant address on AI is redefining the future of medicine. Thank you so much, sir. We are grateful to Madam Srimati N. Shobharani Yashashvi, Chairperson, ICFAI Group, for your gracious presence on this Foundation Day lecture. Thank you so much, ma'am. We also express our gratitude to V.R. Shankara Garu, President of ICFAI Group, for his continuous encouragement and his continuous support throughout. Thank you so much, sir. I extend my wholehearted thanks to our Vice Chancellor in charge, Professor T. Kotreddy Garu, for his valuable support throughout the program. Thank you, sir. I wish to express my deepest gratitude to Professor J. Mahendra Reddy Garu, former Vice Chancellor IFHE and Distinguished Advisor ICFAI Society. Thank you for your gracious presence. And our sincere thanks to Professor Rajshekaran Pillai, Chancellor ICFAI University Himachal Pradesh and Vice Chancellor of Somaya University, and Professor O.R.S. Rao Garu, Chancellor ICFAI University Sikkim, Professor T.R.K. Rao Garu, Chancellor ICFAI University Nagaland and ICFAI University Jharkhand, Professor U.B. Desai, Chancellor ICFAI University Dehradun, and Professor Jagannath Patnaik Sir, Vice Chancellor ICFAI University Sikkim, for all your gracious presence and your guiding spirit throughout the thing. Thank you so much, sir. We are incredibly grateful to Sri CHSS Mallikarjun Rao Garu, ex-chairman and CEO, Punjab National Bank, and Sri Sabamurthy Garu, former CMD, Corporation Bank, and Chairman NPCA. Thank you, sir, for your gracious presence. Our special thanks to Director Branding, Mr. Sudhakar Rao Garu, ICFAI Group, and to his entire team for organizing this particular event. Thank you, Sudhakar Rao Garu. Our sincere thanks to the entire team, SumanTV, and for covering the event and for their continuing support. Thank you to the press and media. I wish to convey a special note of thanks to the Director, IFHE Administration, and to the entire team for their untiring support in organizing this successful event. Thank you so much. And I thank all the students who have present here and your patient learning and also great learning from Dr. Nageshwar Reddy Garu. Thank you one and all. This comes to the end of the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I request everyone to rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
That brings us to the end of the program. We thank you for your active participation and attendance. I request the dignitaries to stay back for a group photograph.